Josimba. We give voice, we give soul.
Hello and welcome to Viewpoint, a program that comes to you every week from Josimba Television, where we delve into issues making headlines at home and abroad. My name is Joseph Moiba, and coming up in this edition, how thousands of students were disqualified from taking the West African Examinations Senior Secondary School exams in Sierra Leone by the West African Examinations Council in the year 2025. And in this edition, we will hear from the aggrieved students themselves. What are their pains? How are they feeling? Then we will also be hearing from the Waec officials themselves on what really happened. Then we will proceed further to discuss the explanations given by the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary School Education, they call the MBSSE. We will also be hearing from some stakeholders in education in Sierra Leone on the issue on the review. Then I will be personally weighing in on the issues, and we give you my personal opinions on the unfortunate event. And most importantly, we will discuss what is the way forward for you and all those affected by these omissions. That's just in case you are affected in any way. Then you don't want to miss any part of this program. Stay tuned.
Since the struggles of our people everywhere, from the heart of the streets to the world we care. News and views with a purpose to share. Josimba Television, we're always there.
Voices on the struggles and triumphs of our people everywhere is Josimba TV. We are always there. Welcome back to Viewpoint. The West African Examinations Council in Sierra Leone is in the news again, but not for fun. As the 2025 Senior Secondary School examinations were about to start, all hell broke loose in the country when thousands of students discovered that they were not cleared for the examinations. A sense of indignation cut across the country as schools, parents, and affected children washed in anger and frustration as they realized how hopeless they stood a chance to fight the predicament. Let me give you a background to this story. Josimba Travels and Josimba Television, we are always in communities looking for what's happening there. So on one fateful day, we are something like 40 miles away from our present location where we are right now. So some 40 miles or thereabouts, we are away from Bo, looking for stories to bring to you, our beloved listeners. Then we saw some ladies sitting underneath a tree and they were discussing. One of them was saying that her daughter came back from the school and she has not been happy, she has not been eating, she has been saddened. I don't know what happened, she said, in that school, but my daughter is no longer herself. She's just a different person altogether. And I discovered that this was something that we should listen to. So I tried to listen further and engage the lady. I said, can I talk to your daughter? What happened at school? She said, yes. So the girl came and then they granted me interviews. And I just found out that a good number of them had not been allowed or cleared to take the ongoing WASSCE examinations. That's the West African Examinations Senior Secondary School exams. So I said, well, let me talk to you guys, but on one condition, you have to speak to me in English. You won't believe. Those guys promised and they delivered. They spoke to me in English. That's the reason, that's the key thing that motivated me to carry this story. Because in our society today, people shy away when you want to talk good English to them. They shy away. And then they granted me an interview, and this is what they said.
My name is Anna Malere from the high school. I have been in SSS degree science.
Okay.
Well, my challenge is I am one of the candidates that's supposed to sit to us.
Be loud enough.
This 2025. But just because of my name, I was qualified to sit this year, 2025. I am one of the WASSCE candidates. So I have been in Mumpe High School for the past. I started my GSS 1 till to SSS 3. So from now, I do not be able to sit my WASSCE. The principal told me that I'm not going to sit. My father asked him why. He said that where he went to
Input?
input the name, then say that my name is not there because my pictures was not there and my date of birth and also my subjects were not there. So I was not supposed to sit this year. That is my challenge.
Okay, so is this the problem of the school or it's your problem?
It is not my problem. It's the problem of the school.
Okay, who hired these people to input those things? Is the school?
It's the principal.
The principal.
Yes, sir.
So now, did they bring the list? Did they come with the first? What happened? How did you realize that you are not going to sit this year?
The first list come, my name was there. The second one come, my name was there, and the third one come. My mom asked the principal if my name was there. The principal said that my name was there. It's now when because that day I went to school to qualify if my name was there. I went there. The principal told me that my name was not there, and my colleagues told me that my name was not. The principal said that my name does not come for seats. Then I come and told my father. My father said, "Let us go there." When we go there, the principal said that my name was not there. Then my dad asked him, "What is the problem?" Then the principal said that it's the man that qualified the name. This the man that was working in. The man is I don't know where the man is, from Methodist High School. But he said the man that inputs the name is the problem. He said it's the man that caused that problem.
Okay, so as you are now, you don't have anywhere to start.
I don't have any.
Okay, so you are going back to SS2.
Yes, sir.
All right. So no other explanation is given.
I don't want that to happen.
That's the only.
My name is Safiatu Imami. I'm in SSS 3 Science. Well, the reason why I am not going to all the school, Mumpe High School. I'm attending Mumpe High School, Sleone Junction. The reason why I'm not going to see this year, I got a call by the principal that I'm not going to see this year because the government reduced some of the students in their school, in Mumpe High School. So they said I'm not going to see this year because the government said that they did not want plenty children to sit this year. So they just reduced some of. Then my name is on the list of the people that they reduced some. So I'm not going to see this year. I'm in pain and in stress because they have changed the what?
Syllabus.
They have changed the syllabus this year. So it's hard for me it's hard for me that I'm not going to see this year. I'm in stress right now because I don't used to the syllabus. Yeah, they are just changed the syllabus. So I'm in pain. So if you can help us just to sit this year, so you can do that for us.
So now I want to understand your problem.
Yeah.
When did you know that you are not going to take the examinations this year?
Well, are we in May? Are we in May? In April, yeah. In April 21st, they called me. I have a call. They explained that we are not going to see this year. Not the principal, but the one that take our names. Do the entry, call us that we are not going to sit this year, and the principal also follow.
So what did you do after that?
Why do I do after that? Well, I still call and confirm in Freetown also. Then my brother even said me that we are not going to see this year because they said the government did not want plenty children to sit. Yeah. So even in other schools, we got a news that they also, that same thing happened to them, that they are not going to sit this year because the government do not want epileptic students to sit this year.
Well, no problem.
So on that day, I cry upon cry. Tears is all over my eyes. I can't even eat. Let her do anything. I'm in stress right now because I don't see this year. Because let me say the next year, if we sit in the next year, the syllabus all are changed.
Yeah.
They change the syllabus. So it's hard for you going to study another syllabus. Yeah, it's way too hard for us.
Okay. What is your dream in life? Because what were you crying for?
My dream? Thank you for asking that kind of question.
Come.
I want to become a medical doctor.
Your parents were you studying science?
Yeah, I study science. My name is Kadiatu. I'm attending BTC Experimental Senior Secondary School. But they just called me and said that my name did not score. I go at the school and check if what they told me that is true. Well, I cross-check everywhere, I did not see my name. Then I came back to the village. I tell my daddy. And I said, well, if there is any solution, let me come and tell him. I come and tell him, but there is no way again for you to fix another thing. I decided to sit next year.
Okay, what problem did the school tell you about that this is what caused this?
Well, they did not tell me anything about the causes of my name.
No, they just said the name is not coming.
Yes, they go at the place where they call Waec office to go and find out my result. I go there question. My result is genuine. I do everything, my name does not come.
It's okay. All right. I will run this. Thank you very much.
First thing that you will discover from those children is the helplessness of the children and their parents. Where do they go from here? What do we do? Every one of them, they don't have an idea. The schools are not helping. Parents are dejected. Everyone is frustrated. So what do we do? There, because of what we heard there, we decided to visit the West African Examinations Council office in Bo to hear from them on the allegations of the children. The West African Examinations Council, when we approached them, they were very, very approachable and very friendly. They behaved to us very nicely, talked to us nicely, received us. The reception was actually excellent. So the branch controller in Bo, apparently, he was able to quickly, very swiftly, connect me to Mr. Saliu Kamara, who is responsible for interfacing with the public over issues Waec in this country. So I actually talked to him on the phone. And this is his side of the story. You listen to this one, and I will be back.
First of all, what we want the public to know is Waec is not responsible for the entries of the candidates.
Okay.
The school authorities are responsible when the portal is open. The school authorities are responsible to enter their candidates on the system.
Okay.
So therefore, our responsibility is to open the portal. And based on the previous years, for example, 2024 and 2023 saga, so both the stakeholders, MBSSC, CPSS, Conference of Principals themselves, Waec and other stakeholders, including the chairman of the Parliamentary Committee on Basic and Senior Secondary Education in Parliament, we agreed on timelines for this entry to be constant.
Okay.
Wherein, for example, the cashier one, which has the biodata, which takes the biodata of the candidates, should now be, the portal of the cashier one should now be open from May 31 to September 30 every year. So those timelines were agreed. We sent everything to school authorities in this country, and indeed we went by it.
Okay.
So therefore, if candidates are left out without being entered, it is not the responsibility of Waec. What they entered, it is what we captured in our system. As I'm speaking to you, we have 148,362 candidates that we have in our system, and we are now conducting examination for those candidates.
Okay. Yes, I think I've been following this story for quite some time these days.
Yes.
The only question I have is that what provision did you make for the children that will okay for transfers and for children that will be in SS2, maybe students that are recruiting SS2, who after the registration of the CAS SS1, after they go to SS2, what modalities did you put in place to cover those who were not captured in that SS1 bracket?
Oh, for example, when a candidate wants to transfer from school A to school B, that one has to be legalized. You have to go through the school authority that the parents, for example, let's say for government workers, now you are in Bo, then all of a sudden they transfer you to Kenema or even in Freetown. Then your child was attending CKC, and CKC has already done the entry for Cassia 1, and now you want to transfer with your children to Kailan. There are provisions for that again. The system made provision. They have to go through the formality. So the school, the parents has to meet the principal of that school that, hey, because of A, B, C, I have now been transferred and I'm now going with my children. So they need to request the CAS reference number, because the moment you enter the student for Cassia 1, it generates CAS reference number for each and every candidate, and that CAS reference number will not be changed. So you request for that CAS reference number, then you inform MBSSE about it. So MBSSE will now inform Waec that students A from CKC will be transferred to Sleone Secondary School. So Waec will do the needful. So that has to be legalized.
Okay, I understand.
So that's one. But repeater policy, of course, government has almost removed that policy. So they are not entertaining repeaters again. So that is a government policy. It's not from Waec.
Yeah, of course. That's yeah.
So if you understand what the Mr. Saliu Kamara was saying, is that everything now points to the Ministry of Education and the principals of the schools where the children were taken. So it apparently looks like the principals of the schools were actually taking the children or admitting the children without due process and relevant documents or requirements for the examinable classes. Well, that's what it looks like. So we decided to go to the Ministry of Education still to ask some more questions. And then that's when we met with the Deputy Director of Education, South, one Mr. Yaya. But he declined having a formal interview of any sort, whether it meant recording his voice or video. But he took his time to talk to me from his main reception area at the office. And I must be honest with you that that man didn't appear to be much bothered by what was going on. I'm not saying he was not bothered, no. To me, he didn't appear to be. You know, there is a way some people can get used to pain. Maybe he has seen a lot of those things so much so that it's no longer pricked by them. But I have seen such things in hospitals, particularly here in Sierra Leone, where some doctors and nurses who have gotten so much used to the pain of suffering, they are no longer moved by such levels of pain. Maybe it's their experience. They have been there before. Maybe it's something like that. But these were the things I learned from the Deputy Director of Education, because he allowed me to speak from my memory, and that's what I'm doing exactly. He said, well, Sierra Leone is a place of allegations. He said that because I said the children said that the government asked them to be knocked off the list of Waec. He said, oh, you see, this country is a place of rumors. But I think he could remember that I was not there for rumors. I was there for facts. So that settled it. So he said, the most important thing that the deputy director told me in that meeting with him was that the omissions of the children's names was done by the Ministry of Education with the help of the Waec portals. Whatever that means, I don't know.
he said that it was the Ministry of Education, the MBSSE, that removed the names. Take note of this if you are listening. It's not West African Examinations Council that did that one. It's not even the principals. The names were taken down by the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary School Education of Sierra Leone. That's what he told me. He said also that school authorities were well informed over 7 months ago about those cleared and those not cleared. But this doesn't match with the children's explanation. Remember that? Since the children claimed that they were just informed a couple of days to the commencement of the exams. How do you see that? Mr. Yaya also boasted of having enough data or documents to defend the actions of the Ministry of Education. So I tried to ask him about the impunity of those committing the heinous crimes against the children every year, because this is not new. Children have been grumbling. Names have been plucked off that list several years before. So we didn't think that it will happen again. But when we saw it happening, I told him that this is impunity and that what have they been doing against to stop that impunity? So that's when things really got interesting. He said that principals who were found wanting in previous years were punished appropriately and accordingly. But I told him that whatever the goals of those punishments were, they failed to achieve their purpose because they failed to serve as a deterrent to further violations. I told him I very much doubt the impact of such punishments because there seems to be an increase in the crimes. Then he asked me, how do you know? I told him that a member of parliament in parliament raised the question that there were 100,000 people plucked off the lists of examinations this year in the WASSCE examination. So I put that to him. He said, oh, that figure is not correct. I said, beautiful. Then can you give me your own figures from the Ministry of Education? He declined to give. So in my opinion, and in the position of my own television, Josimba Television, we will stand for the 100,000 until the Ministry of Education gives us an appropriate number and with the details that Mr. Yaya said that is in their possession. I think that's fair enough. But that's not all. This issue of Waec blocking the names of children and people crying here and there is not new, as I said. But so there is this man, Mr. Victor QM Davis, who is the national chairman of the Union of Private Schools. I came across these things online, and he was sharing some lines of his opinion online. All right, let's listen in.
The first thing I want to draw everybody in attention to now the fact that the situation this year is very worse, because what happened is that Mr. Saliu Kamal is going 48,000 plus candidates away for take the exam. But if you go to the centers, they realize, see, half of these candidates not get for take the exam. We want for make the government understand, see, most of them pick away, then they pay money for to work. At the end of the day, they not get for city exam. Secondly, let us also understand, see, we as private school, we they pay for we candidates, and the candidates we don't pay for, we don't receive money from. When the name we enter in BRS, what's happen? Most of them now not they take the exam. Some of them pick up the SS1, where now their name come, some don't come on our school, don't go to other school. Number one, some of the name they duplicate, because their name possibly be done they now did now school A when I did they do SS1, then they don't go do SS2. Now another school. So if they picking a name duplicate, now one side you get for seat. Some of them pick also don't travel. And when they don't travel, obviously, they're not going able to take the exam. Some of them, I think we get 1 or 2 cases there, well, are we away, the picking don't die. And that picking, they don't for class 1, they not get for take the exam. So at the end of the day, what happen is that the 148,000 they talk about, basically, we go find out, say, are sure we not get 80,000 picking, we get for sit this exam across the nation. Because what happen now is that the picking the way the name come na admission notice, where this admission notice they be generated, which is so-called BRS, from the Waec system, Waec portal, as well as the confirmation of entries from the Waec portal. Then Pikile, so most of their name they not in the present attendance. Okay, wait till Mr. Salu say. He say if you like there, we get two different sets of Pikile.
Yes.
We don't get two different sets of Pikile. We get the same Pikile. The only two going to happen along the line, like I say, some of them Pikile don't transfer. And you don't mention already. We don't check transfer cases over the years. Transfer case not the work. If we keep transfer from one case to another, it not the work. Last year, me and one particular person, when in school, we get school picking away transfer, we write letter, we wait, go through the process, I end up pay for them transfer cases, then they not sit the exam. Now this year, I have collecting money back from Waec. Because what's happening, I mean, access them money I want to be paid for them PKR, let them be transferred a complete money to entry for this year. For this year, Waec said they're not the operate, so I for pay for all my PK the way I do. The law writes letter, let them refund me money. So the one that I pay for last year for transfer case, obviously they know they see, they don't work. I want Mr. Salu tell me how many schools actually don't do transfer case, where don't go successfully. The system is so rigid that if you like for say na trap, where basically you turn this way they educate you turn this way they educate you, it's the art. And what in Bengali say, Yanda is that from your perspective, with the see and say, all of what Waec they do, now for coerce them PKR, let them go take private tours. Because of recent years, what's happening, the private tours number, they deplete, they reduce because of the policies they bring up. I should say, if we ever forget that kind of collaboration with schools and heads of schools and Waec, both exams they go successfully.
But let me ask first, how plausible could the allegations be that the government actually mandated the ministry to reduce the number on the roll of the exams this year? How plausible is that? Looking at everything that you've heard from the ministry, from West African Examinations Council, from the children, from Mr. Davis. What do you think? Your guess is as good as mine. Number two, I am of the viewpoint that the ministry should have organized or set up some level of counseling for parents and affected students. Why am I saying that? Because this experience is traumatic. And imagine somebody studying, trying to put himself together for 3 years to take an examination, and just a step to that examination, just a couple of days, maybe hours to that, he's informed that you're not going to take that. All the 3 years dreams that he's been building or she's been building are crashed. How do you feel about that? This is traumatic, and I think it should not just be left out there like that as if nothing has happened. I want the Ministry of Education and all those stakeholders in education, Lewilan and all the other people involved in education to take this very seriously and try to create forums where they will talk to these parents and the aggrieved students, at least to de-traumatize them. Because take it as it is, no matter what's going to happen, there are some children that are never going back to school after these exams. Because the process after here is very much muddled. Nobody knows what's going to happen to them. So we are going to lose a lot of those children never going to continue their education. And people like the ones I've just interviewed there, who has a lot of potential. They have a lot of potentials. But now, those potentials are under threat of being buried forever. But it's only education that will help us to showcase who we are. I hope the Ministry of Education this year, this 2025, will do something about this in good faith. Also, I want to make a suggestion that if the payment of the fees by the government is becoming too difficult to the government, subsequently leading to massive dropouts of our students, like what's happened this year, let them have also an option of people being able to pay for themselves just in case they wanted to. I mean, the Ministry of Education has done very well. I think it's high time President Julius Maada Bio and his team came together again to look at things and say, well, I think we can no longer be able to pay for everybody. Those who can pay, let them pay for the West African Examinations Council examination. So that will be free to take care of those whom we cannot pay for. Let there be another option where people can be able to pay for themselves. Because there are a lot of things that have come into this system, as we heard from this, from the Waec man, like there's nothing about repeaters anymore. I don't know what's happening. You cannot repeat anymore. Even if you leave the school for 2, 3, 4, 5 months in SS2, you still cannot repeat. You have to still continue going. So what is our objective? What is the focus of the education? We really want to know. So there is a proverb in this country. In Creole, they said, if one do not write, let's go back to school. How I thought I would be, how I wish I would be able to translate that. It means if the initiation into the Bondo society is not possible, let the girl, Saleh, go back to school. And I hope nobody by the name Saleh is offended. It's a proverb. I didn't create that one. So, if we do not write, let Saleh go back to school. Let the government of Sierra Leone tell us, well, we have tried, enough is enough. You take care of your own things now. We can no longer pay. I think that will release the tension a little bit, and we'll stop seeing what is happening, because we cannot continue to see thousands of our future leaders being plunged into oblivion every passing year. After our children were plunged down the list like you rub off ants on a piece of wood. This is unacceptable. And I want the government to be aware of this. This is unacceptable. Let there be an independent investigation into these allegations and counter-allegations. That's the best. That's what a responsible government will do. And I believe this Sierra Leone People's Party government of Dr. Julius Maada Bio is okay. They can do that. Let's listen to an independent view of what's really happened. How did they go into the portals? How were the names plucked off? What's the next thing that's going to happen to these children? After all is said and done, what is the way forward for the affected children? What is the way forward? That's the most important thing. And I talked to Mr. Saliu Kamara again, and this was his view. You listen to it.
Okay, then. So what do you think? Is this also your question? Maybe I don't know if it is. What happens to these children now? Because I am picking this case up because I met a group of children in the village that were really upset. They were really downcast. They don't know which way to go now. What would you advise?
Well, previously, I think it was in March, the minister, of course, addressed some of the students. I don't know whether it was in Freetown or they do it countrywide. They addressed some of the students that those school authorities who were unable to upload CASIA 1 for their candidates, because you heard about Methodist Girls High School, a big school in Freetown. So they were also among them. So they started talking to them that they are in negotiation with Finance, the Ministry of Finance, to make arrangements. If they get finances, perhaps they pay for them to sit WASSCE for private candidates 2025. So the minister has addressed that one. But for the mere fact, the portal is open. Every school, if you have your candidate, you are liable to enter them without any hit.
But that position has not yet ratified until it goes through due process.
Well, of course, MBSSC has to confirm that now from you guys. Yeah.
All right, so I understand, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
You are welcome.
I really appreciate it. I know you are very
welcome. Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
And so that is all we'll have time for this week. So if you are affected, or if you know someone who is affected, please share this video and subscribe to this channel for further updates on these and other matters. We are of the hope that this may cheer them to some extent. The program is Viewpoint from the Jozimba Television. My name is Joseph Moeba, and thanks to my director of photography, Moloma Victor Lamin, for putting all this together. And follow us for more. We lay voices to the struggles of our people everywhere. And if you have anything interesting you would like us to delve into or to talk about, you can talk to us in the link just below there. Thank you for listening. God bless you. We are looking forward to seeing you. Join our page. Thank you. Ciao.
Innovation team song. Loyal voices to struggles of our people everywhere. From the heart of the streets to the world we care. News and views with a purpose to share. Jozimba Television, we're always there. silence. On justice, health, and human rights defiance. From village tales to city cries, we bring the world what the people can't disguise. Laying voice